On today's show, we will talk about sex before marriage and what God's Word says about that. And then later we will have Deanna Hamilton join us to talk to us about a hard loss in her life. Recently, I had a sizable ladies event to put together, and this was my 5th year at it, so unlike the first 2 years, I was actually pretty calm and I felt prepared for the event. But then something happened unexpected. About 2 weeks prior to the event, a fear started to creep in that I would get sick for this event. I started to wonder who would be able to cover for me. How would it all come together if I was just too sick? I just could not get sick, and man, was that fear starting to take over. And I knew exactly who was coming at me. Satan knew he couldn't cause anxiety or stress about the event itself, so he decided to attack another way. A common way for him, through fear. I see it all the time working in ministry and just living in this crazy world that we do live in. Fear that your spouse will leave or hurt you in some way. Fear that you won't be able to pay all the bills for the next month. Fear that you're not going to be the best mom or dad for your kids. Fear that you're going to lose your job. Fear about health, our economy, or even where you're going to be able to purchase that next toilet paper. Yes, just recently, shelves at the stores were empty because of a fear that people would not be able to get that toilet paper. Fear is a real emotion, and it is running rampant. But let me tell you, fear, it's a liar. Satan wants to stop you in your steps, to keep you from moving forward with God. And we cannot allow fear to dictate our lives, to take hold of us. Oh yes, it will come, and even at times can be a warning. But mostly it's a tactic that Satan loves to use over and over. He's not smart, but he does know that he can get us in a place of fear, a place where we feel unsettled, where we feel a lack of peace, and we can't seem to get any rest. If he can get us there, then he has us right where he wants us, stuck. When that fear comes on us, we must change our mindset, putting our eyes back on him, trusting God will get us through, and believing that he does want good for us. And one of the best ways to do that is by speaking scripture. So here's a few. Isaiah 41:10, "Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." Psalm 34:4, "I sought the Lord, and he answered me and delivered me from all my fears." Joshua 1:9, "Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened and do not be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." It's time to fight against those fears and realize that fear is a liar. I'd like to say I did better with it, but I'm still working on it. But I know we can all work on it. We should work on it, and it doesn't need to control us. It does not need to keep us stuck. Lord, show me the lies that I've picked up. Help me to draw closer to you and to cling to your promises. Help me to live in a place of freedom and to tell Satan where he can go. We are just 3 ladies, all with big opinions, always backed by a biblical standpoint. So let's talk about it.
This segment is brought to you by Harry's Construction, whose motto is, "If you can dream it, we can create it." They are the kitchen and bath design experts, so call Harry's Construction for all your remodeling needs.
So ladies, we have a fun question today.
Yeah.
Sex before marriage.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I want, Teresa shared with me something that she was going to say, and I want to make sure people hear what you say, because, and we want our viewers to know this is not easy for us, but we have to stop not talking about it.
Right. So in Exodus 22:16 through 17, it talks about if a man sleeps with a woman, he has to pay the bride price. Like, that's not who he apparently is not going to marry. He has
If
to,
he sleeps with a virgin.
yes, a virgin woman, because that's what gives and gave women their value back then, was their
Yes.
virginity. And when I read that, I just could not help but think, first of all, he has to pay the price for her. Because in her society, she was ruined, unmeritable at that point. But also, and I told you I was going to be uncomfortable saying this on TV, but blood is spilled when that happens.
Yes.
Blood is spilled. Something dies.
Yes.
Something's lost. Something
Yes.
very, very valuable spiritually and monetarily is lost for her. And I just found that extremely interesting.
That is profound to me. I loved that. And I actually am reading a book that I would suggest for everybody, and I had not heard of it. The name of the book is Taboo: Topics Christians Should Be Talking About, but Don't. It is exceptional. It is all Bible-based. Okay, fire is wild, and the same thing that warms and comforts also catches and destroys. So we fear fire. I know people who've gotten burned, who've lost everything in a house fire, and so we're careful with it. As a father, I have rules about who can make a fire in our house and when and how. Not because fire is bad, but because fire is fiery. Just like sex. Is sex bad? Absolutely not. Should Christians never have sex because it might turn out bad? No. But should Christians have a healthy fear of sex wherever, whenever, with whomever? Absolutely. A loving father wouldn't design it any other way.
That's really good.
This guy is fabulous. And let me get you. His name is Mike Novotny. But if you look up that title, it addresses every taboo subject.
Everyone we don't want to talk
Every
about.
taboo subject that we don't talk about.
I'm just going to look it up just so we have some more topics to talk about.
That-
How about that?
Yes,
Exactly,
definitely. Definitely.
Yeah, so I was brought up in a household where I was taught that sex before marriage is not biblical and it's not right.
Yeah.
1 Corinthians 16:18 through 20 says, "Flee from sexual immorality. All other sins a person commits are outside the body, but whoever sins sexually sins against their own body.
Yeah.
Do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit who is in you, whom you have received from God? You are not your own." And here's the thing I believe happens when, especially, maybe I'm wrong, but I think more for women, when you have sex before marriage and then that relationship ends, there is something that happens
Yeah.
to destroy some of your self-esteem, trust issues
Yeah.
come
Oh,
about,
absolutely.
guilt and regret because of the decision you made. I'm not saying men don't feel that, but I believe women feel it at a higher level, especially in that age range of teenagers, trying to navigate life. Things like unwanted pregnancies, emotional issues. And so there are reasons that God is asking us not to do this. Not because, like you said, not because sex is wrong. Not
Right.
because he hates it. It's a beautiful thing.
He created
He
it.
created
Right.
it. But he knows what happens when it's done wrong.
And I think, okay, we know it's a known fact that men look at something and they see one thing, women look at it and they see something different.
Yes.
So once you give yourself away, it makes it so easy to do it time and time again.
Yeah.
Right.
Because the fear is gone.
That's right.
The fear is gone. And I just feel like it just like in Exodus, it just, to me, you are valuable. You are so valuable, and you kind of scathe away that value from yourself. It's almost like you do it to yourself. You don't understand the value of who you are and what you are actually giving away. You're giving away a piece of yourself.
Right.
And it's really meant for one person.
Right.
It's
Well,
really
and I feel like as the church, we have done a disservice because frequently and we are talking about Christian people here, not the world. But frequently what we do is just say, don't it's bad, it's it. Don't. Instead of saying, God has made this beautiful in a certain place, in a certain time.
A union between one
Yes.
man and one woman.
Yes.
It should be a lifelong union
Yes.
between the two of you.
Yeah.
Something that's just yours.
Because it's
Nobody
hard for people who are Christians who've said, don't, no, this is sin. Okay, we say, I do, and we get married, and suddenly we're supposed to switch our brains. That doesn't always happen either. It needs to be in a healthy,
Right.
dealt with in a healthy way, talked about in a healthy way, because God is love.
Right.
And He loves for His children to experience beautiful things in the way He has created it to be.
In the way he intended it.
Intended it.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
So it's not an easy topic, but have those conversations. Have them with your kids, because sex before marriage only leads to so many hurtful things. So let's do it right. When we come back, we will have our guest for the day.
Next time on Man Up, we'll have Pastor Brian Sandell, and we'll talk about the impact that his ministry is having on the city of Altoona.
And when I came, was very fortunate to have a church of people who were hungry to get involved. And that hunger led to the creation of our food bank, our soup and sandwich luncheon. It led to a greater enthusiasm for our rock program.
All that and more next time on Man Up.
Welcome back to Let's Talk About It. Today we have a special guest with us that has an incredible story to share. But before we get into the story, tell us who you are and a little bit about you.
Hello, I'm Deanna Hamilton, and I'm married to Jeff Hamilton. We've been attending Transformation Church together for over 20 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we love it here. Over 20 years. We have 2 grown children, 6 grandchildren, and I work at Mount Aloysius College. I've been there almost 25 years,
Wow.
and I absolutely love it there.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I love it.
So we brought you here to share a hard story, but I believe that your story is going to help others navigate it. And so it's about your sister.
What's your sister's name?
Donna.
Donna.
Yes.
Okay.
Donna.
So tell us back to before she passed, some of the things that were going on in her life and how it affected you.
She also has 3 beautiful children. We were pregnant together for her son and my daughter are the same age. So we shared that. And
How close in age are y'all?
we're 2 years apart. I'm the oldest.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm the oldest of 3.
Okay.
So she started to experience, she was falling, losing her balance, that kind of thing. And it was Christmas one year, and her daughter told me about it. So I told my mom, I'm like, we have to figure out what this is. And with internet and everything, my sister started to do her own research. And she was headstrong and just shot right from the hip. She finally got her to see the neurologist, and she said, I know what I have. Just tell me if it's MS or ALS. Just give it to me straight.
Wow.
That was her.
Wow.
That was her.
Okay.
I would have been a mess in a puddle on the floor, and she was like, just tell me,
Okay.
and then tell me what we need to do.
Okay.
So that was her from the start. And she just took the bull by the horns. She became an advocate for ALS.
Is that what she had, was ALS?
She did have
Okay.
ALS.
Okay.
I guess I should have said that.
No, that's all right.
She did have ALS. And once you are diagnosed with ALS, you've already had some symptoms for a while. So once you're diagnosed with ALS, your typical time you have left is 3 to 5 years.
Wow.
Really?
Wow.
Is that all?
That's all.
I didn't know that.
And because
That's
I
all.
don't know much about it, what are a few of the symptoms that may come up?
It's an actual autoimmune disease, and it attacks your muscles. So your muscles don't work the way they should,
Which is why she was falling.
which is why she was falling. She started to lose her balance.
Wow.
One of the times that she lost her balance, she had to have surgery on her back. So she was in the hospital, either a nursing home, which was fun to visit your sister in on Easter, in a nursing home, or Health South, between January and August.
Wow.
She was in the hospital all that time, healing. But as she was healing from surgeries, she was also losing her muscle mass.
And how old was she?
When she passed away,
No, well, when she first was diagnosed.
when she was diagnosed, oh geez,
Around.
42.
Okay, in her 40s. Okay.
Wow.
Wow.
So young.
Yes, very young.
And MS is typically more common in men.
You mean ALS?
Well, MS is more common,
Oh.
seems to be more common in men, where ALS is more common in women, it tends to be.
I didn't know that either.
Yes.
Wow.
So we've learned so much
Sure.
through that. So in her journey, she became an advocate for ALS. She marched on Washington in 2018 with President Trump when he was, when the bill landed on his desk for signature for the right to try for medication that is not yet approved through the FDA for folks that are terminal and different medications like that. She did take one of those medications, and that did slow down the progression of her disease, but there is no cure for ALS. When the Ice Bucket Challenge was there in 2014, we all did that,
Yes.
and everybody did that, and it raised so much money. The things that she did were amazing. She skied to defeat ALS at Seven Springs. They had a skiing event a couple times a year. I mean, 2 times that she did that. And she skied. I've never skied in my life. She had a skiing instructor. They had an adaptive sports company. They strapped her in. She had the helmet and everything. She just kept going
I have
down.
goosebumps. I have
Down.
goosebumps. What a warrior.
It was amazing.
What a warrior.
She was amazing. So her strength and her courage, I'm getting chills now,
Yeah.
just to plow through and just bang, hit this head on, to be a warrior and show strength for her children. She has 3 children, her son, a daughter, and then a younger daughter, just to show them the fortitude and the strength to carry on. She once had said that she wanted to live long enough to see her youngest daughter graduate from high school. And she actually lived to see my youngest niece graduate from college and get engaged. So there were all those milestones
Yeah. That a mom wants to be part
that
of.
a mom wants to be part of. But in the meantime, she was also part of all of the milestones for my grandchildren because she didn't have grandchildren.
Yes.
So every one of my grandchildren that were born, even with her disease, she was there in the hospital before they left the hospital. I have pictures of her holding them all. Well, at that point, she couldn't hold them in her arms, but I have a picture of every one of the grandkids, her with them on her lap, and you could see them, and birthdays. My grandson Jude, we had a Halloween party for him. He wanted to, because his birthday is the end of this month, so he wanted to have a dress-up party, and she had like self-deprecating humor a little bit. Like for Jude's party, she dressed up as Steven Tyler from Aerosmith, and she used her scooter and she put a kid's microphone on it. And if you know Steven Tyler, he has all the scarves and everything on his microphone stand. So she had the leather jacket on and everything, and she put all the scarves on the microphone so she could still be part of everything. But she could still sit in her scooter and be comfortable, and just all kind of things like that. And like,
So when you have a diagnosis like that, I'm sure you live differently.
Yes.
Yes.
You live
Yes.
Yet you still try to extract every moment life has to
right.
offer.
and she did. She
Because you
did
can
not
choose
miss-
not to.
That's right. Plenty of people do.
You can hole up somewhere and
Yes.
just let it take you,
Yes.
or you can extract.
She did not
She
miss.
lived.
She did. She did not miss anything. And if you didn't ask her to be part of something, we would say, "Oh, I thought maybe that would be too uncomfortable for you." She would get mad and she would say, "You ask me, and I will decide
Yeah.
Yeah.
if I can make it, or if I can be in the car that long,
Yeah.
or because
That's
she
great
wanted to be a
advice for
part.
That's right. That's right.
She wanted to
just
be a
awesome.
part of everything.
Yeah.
So not only watching her, and it's little things, like she started when she worked in an office and she couldn't pick up a paper clip, the dexterity in your fingers. And then you can't feed yourself. And it's all these little things that once you could do and now you can't.
Right.
So just all of those kind of add up.
Yeah, for sure.
And then through the ALS Association, they have a walk every year, an ALS walk. They have one in Johnstown. And my daughter decided to, she learned of it and she decided to create a team for my daughter, or for my sister. And we always joked that she's high maintenance and she'd do full makeup and everything just to go to check the mail and everything like that. So I always said, well, that's easy. And my daughter Christine said, well, what do you mean? How do we pick a name? And I said, well, she's always considered herself a diva, so we will be Donna's Divas.
Oh, that's
And that's where the necklace came in, because every diva needs a crown,
That's
right?
right.
So this was her crown.
that's right.
And so when she passed, her daughters wanted me to have her crown. So I'm very
wear it every
rarely
day.
without it.
Yeah.
You know, the only time I change it is to wear my cross usually. But
When did your sister pass?
she passed away in February 9th of 2022.
Okay.
But before that, my dad passed away, October of 2021.
Oh my goodness.
January, my uncle passed away. I was with my aunt. I helped her because she lives in Crescent, I helped her whenever the ambulance and everything showed up to her house. I left work and I helped her with that, and then took her to the hospital, the whole thing. A week later, my sister passed away. And we just had so many deaths that year. And every time you were healing,
Scab got
the
picked
scab
off.
just got
Yep.
ripped off. And we had so many deaths that year. Later that year, in the summer, my dad's 3 brothers passed away.
There's a lot.
It was a lot.
A lot to navigate.
It was a lot. And then that was a whole year of firsts. The first Easter without my sister. We're 2 years and 1 week apart. We usually shared a birthday together. It was the first birthday without her. And then the holidays came, and I wanted the holidays to be perfect that year. Because I said, this is it. I'm done with this death. I'm done with sadness. And I decorate my house crazily for the holidays. I had food. Everything was just spot on. And then the weather hit. The weather was bad. Roads were closed. Nobody could come. People got sick. So I had all this food and nobody to share it with, in person anyway. And the college closes between Christmas and New Year's. So I had all that time off. And everything just hit me when I wasn't occupied with work. I cried. And I cried, and I cried. But what I didn't do was cry out to God. And I just wallowed in my misery because like Teresa said, this scab just kept getting picked off every time. And I didn't cry out to him. I didn't lean on him like I should have in my faith. And it was Christmas, like I said, I just cried and cried and cried. And then it was New Year's. And a group of us were all supposed to go out on New Year's Eve for dinner. I laid on that couch and cried till the last minute that I could, till it was time for me to get ready to go. And finally got ready to go because I don't want to disappoint anybody. I went to dinner and I made it through. The next day was Sunday. I did not go to church. The Sunday after that, because I was still wallowing, the Sunday after that, I went to church. And Pastor Troy played a song I had never heard before. I'm standing in the back by the sound booth with my husband. And I'm like, okay, I've never heard this song before. Okay, I'm really listening because I lean on music a lot. It's like the soundtrack of my life is music. And the bridge to that song hit. And if you've never heard the song, I would encourage anybody to listen to it. It's Same God by Brandon Lake. The bridge came on. You're a provider then, you're a provider now. You're a healer then, you're a healer now. Everything in that, you know, And that song hit me like a bolt of lightning in the back of that church.
Brought healing.
It brought healing. I almost went down. My husband had to catch me from hitting the floor. And I was never one for going up front to worship. I'm kind of a backwards kind of person. And I just would worship myself quietly and whatever. I could not get to the front of that altar fast enough. And I fell on my face. And instead of crying out of pain and hurt and sorrow and the loss of all my loved ones, my mother also was in intensive care during that time and was very ill. Instead of crying out of hurt and sorrow, I was crying tears of joy. As God released all of that from me, it just left. And I have joy every day.
That's right.
I mean,
Different
it's different. I
mindset.
miss my sister tremendously, of course, and my dad, and my uncles, and everybody else that had passed away up until December of 2022. But
Well, thank you
It's
so
different.
much for sharing
Deanna, that's
and how you
story.
navigated through that, because
Yes.
God can bring healing at the most random times. A song.
Yes.
A song is what did it for her. And we just thank you so much for joining us today. And when we come back, we will have our tip for the day.
When it's time for a new roof, Champion Roofing is your best choice. We're a certified award-winning roofing contractor, meaning your roof is done right the first time. Call today.
Champion Roofing, we're the solution.
Next time on Let's Talk About It, we're going to discuss bitterness, and then we'll have Zane Winter to discuss his new book of poetry.
It all started, I was actually working, and I just kept getting this feeling, like this word on my heart that I was like, I couldn't escape it. I'm like working with people and it's, Father, forgive me. Father, forgive me. It just kept hitting me. And when I tell you,
All that and more next time on Let's Talk About It.
So today you're getting 2 tips from me because they're both pretty short. The first one is this lotion that I feel like you just need to go buy right away. It's called Blueberry Bundt Cake from Bath & Body Works. It has the most amazing smell. I'm obsessed. Go buy it now. Second tip I want to share with you is an app that has helped me save a few bucks here and there. It's called Upside. On this app, it will list a few gas stations and restaurants where you can save a percentage. One I've used multiple times now is the Get and Go for my fuel. Right now, it's 33 cents back per gallon when you fill up. And with gas prices the way they are, every little bit does help. I've also used it at a few restaurants like Applebee's and KFC. It's been a nice and easy way to add some cash back into my pocket, which I'm sure we could all use right now. And this is a free app to download, so why not give it a try? And until next time, let's talk about it.